Okay, I want to watch my video. Sneako interviews a transgender about God. And I think this is really funny. It didn't make the cut of the full 1 minute podcast. By the way, the new 1 minute podcast is out right now. Who Runs the World. My editor didn't put this interview in, so I told him, bro, this is so good. You need to make it its own video. So I want to watch it. It's good. Hold on.
I'm a practicing.
Well, what's your frame of thinking?
I mean, like, I'm a practicing Quaker. I think that kind of hangs a lot on how I look at it, and we believe in equity and, like, just, again, that simple premise, like a lot of religions.
So, like, as backstory, whatever, before he sat down, he asked me, he's like, is this a gotcha? It's like, what is this for? Is this like, no gotchas, right? I'm like, no. There was a lack of trust. And the whole interview, he was kind of on edge and was waiting to see.
Have that, like,
something go
world,
wrong.
Universal, love everybody kind of premise. The way we kind of look at it is like the light of God's in everybody, so therefore I can't punch you, to go back to that, or you're worth consideration, and that each and every single person on the subway platform is worth fighting for. You know what I mean?
Men don't have to just be this. We don't have to have just one partner. We can be open with ourselves. I might be pansexual. If I find a partner that's pansexual in the future, I'll be very happy about that. Why?
And very funny, this dude is saying he's pansexual. If you don't remember, in the full 1 podcast, he's saying he's a Destiny fan. He hates the Fresh and Fit podcast. He hates me. So, and he's not attracted to physicality. Pansexual, I know it sounds like the joke is like, oh, so like pots and pans. Pansexual means that people aren't attracted to anything physical. It doesn't, I don't care about your parts. It means that they're only attracted to people emotionally, which is retarded. Imagine only getting horny by emotions. Imagine not even looking at somebody's body, just a giant fat whale, and you like their personality and you watch Seinfeld together. What would you actually be attracted to if there was nothing physical about it? Pansexual doesn't make any sense. It's people who just want to pretend like they're better than others because they care about feelings more than anything superficial.
Because we can all be open about ourselves, and that's how it works. Because in actuality, all of these are different circumstances taken on a case-by-case basis. And
you would have a relationship with a trans person?
Yes, I would. And why? Because they're a person first and foremost. Trans women are women. It's weird and terrible to have to say, but you know what?
No, trans women are not women. If trans women were women, you would just say women. You wouldn't even say women are women. You would just be saying women. The fact that you need to say trans women are women means they're not.
They're just women, okay? They're women. And
if trans women are women, then you would just say women are women.
Right. But then I have to say women are women, but I have to give the context. The reason why is, for example, do you know that just yesterday, July 31st, there was a homosexual man that was stabbed in a parking lot for dancing.
See, these people, have you noticed that liberals will always take one story that fits their narrative and then repeat it and then say that this is why they're oppressed? Like, the same thing happens every time that a black guy gets shot by a cop. They're like, oh, the unarmed black man was just walking home with Skittles and they gunned him down with a minigun. And then you actually see the video and it's like, oh, well, first he tried to tackle the cop and then he tased him and then he beat the shit out of 3 cops. And then he started shooting the police chief. And then eventually they needed to go and stop him. But the story will be innocent 13-year-old. They'll make him seem really young, really innocent, specify that he's black, ignore the race of the cops because the cop, like 80% of the time, is Latino or black too or Asian. But the narrative is that white cop bad, black guy innocent good. And so guys like this dude will take one story that fits their worldview and then just repeat it nonstop, even though it doesn't reflect any other larger statistics and it doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about.
Okay? He was stabbed in a parking lot for dancing. The LGBT community still has problems, booby, just like the black community still has problems and all the other ones.
So I don't know if it's clear, but I'm a trans woman, and Quakers have had trans members since the 1770s. So,
chat, Quakers have had trans women since the 1770s? Did you know that? And so I'm like, right now I'm thinking, oh, the reason that you chose to be a Quaker, the oatmeal religion, is because no other religion would accept you.
So like, I wasn't out as trans at the time, but I think something subconsciously kind of attracted me to that religion, and also
because they weren't gonna stone you.
Yeah, and it's also I like how they practice, because like we all just sit in a room and stare at each other in meditation until somebody wants to speak up on what the God has to tell them. You know,
their prayer is standing in a room staring at each other until someone talks. What the?
I mean, and
any Quakers in the chat?
That's, you know, like you hear about religious practice was actually a thing you do over and over and over again, and I think like having that outlet of that form of meditation, especially one that's like not focused towards like what's inside of me, but what's like outside for all of these people around you, I think it's just helped me in my life when I have a lot of struggles and, you know, I desire power. You know what I mean? Because I don't get a lot of power in my life as a trans woman, you know?
Are there a lot of trans people in Quakerism?
Yeah, there's quite a few trans people in my church. Depends on which house.
And you peep the mask too. I don't know if you can see. This dude still has a mask on his wrist, like definitely 5 booster shots. Like, why are you carrying this around? Do they not realize how psyop they are to be carrying this? And that if you, what scenario would you wear it if not the subway? If you're gonna wear a mask, it'd be right now. We're less than 6 feet apart. You're in the subway where people are breathing everywhere. There's no ventilation. And you're still not wearing it. You're just doing it to mentally feel better because the news told you that having a mask is better than not having one. You're completely psyoped in an NPC.
House of worship you go to, but I can name 6 Quakers who are trans or gender nonconforming. So, and you know, outside of, you know, going to the certain bars in New York City, you kind of have a hard time finding more than 6 trans people in the room at once. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I say you're the first person to tell you this. Women are women. Okay, I don't like saying trans women are women because I think it's uncomfortable because trans women want to, they hold out the social performance and all the necessary aspects of being a woman. The feminine criteria, the feminine condition, and the feminine ideal. That's what it is. And for that matter, how we understand how gender and sex works in the duality, then they are women. But
I just had a trans woman in this chair like 3 people ago. Pretty manly guy.
And you know what? This comes with a transition with that.
I have to ask you a gotcha type question. Do you think that kids? This is funny because I didn't even know that this dude was a trans. I thought he was like a. Yeah, I mean, it's just very obviously a dude. It doesn't even look at all undercover. Look at what a Quaker is, and then ask yourself. Thank you for the 10 G's. Look at a Quaker and ask yourself how Lincoln took them over and redesigned them. Yeah, because Quakers can't fight back. He was telling me that there were these Quaker churches where people would just go in and beat the shit out of all the Quakers. Because Quakers aren't allowed to retaliate. And I'm just like imagining the scenario where some fucked up guy on meth runs in, hey, Quakers! Blah! And then all of them are just like, I accept. They can't do anything. They can't fight back. That's why I love Islam again, because it's the only religion that makes sense to me. Christians, you have like turn the other cheek mentality. Come on. In Islam, if you hit me, like a religion of peace, but when it's up, it's up. Astaghfirullah, you try to hit me. Should be able to have transgender surgeries?
Kids are not getting transgender surgeries. I would say I would defer to what the medical community says and gender affirming care. A lot of times people hear about kids getting access to.
I asked a yes or no question. You see how he bobbed and weaved?
Gender affirming healthcare, and they think surgeries because a lot of times people just look at our thing and think like, oh, it's sexual. So immediately they think about the balls or whatever. Gender affirming care to kids is usually social stuff.
Nobody was talking about gender affirming care. I wasn't talking about therapy where they go and affirm your delusions. I'm talking about transgender surgeries. Should kids be able to snip their dicks off? Yes or no? I'll defer to a therapist. What? Yes or no? Mr. Kant says, in my opinion, it's kind of gay to be attracted to feminine things like women and shit. Why are you thinking about women, Gayco? Should you be thinking about war? Violence should get your dick hard? Bro, that's, you win the award of the most autistic schizo super chat rumble rant that I've ever seen. Violence should get your dick hard? So you get hard thinking about fighting men? It's gay to be attracted to feminine things like women? Okay. Join Quakerism, guy.
Where like they get access to like a doctor, or they're able to dress in the way that feels right for them, and then they get.
Chat, why are you saying Jeffrey Dahmer? What does Jeffrey Dahmer look like? You mean Jeffrey Marsh? Wow. You notice too, like the parallels between. Have you seen Silence of the Lambs? Silence of the Lambs is a movie from the early, from 1991. And it's basically about serial killers and Hannibal Lecter. The funny part though, is that the main antagonist, Buffalo Bill, is like killing girls to skin them alive to become a transgender woman. So you watch this movie back then and there's a scene where, I don't even know if I want to play it. It's very haram. But he's trying to get all like skin fat women alive so he can make a skin suit and become a girl. And remember that scene? It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Dude is completely, this scene right here. Batshit insane. And then you just see the normal trannies that are on Twitter and TikTok. Jeffrey Marsh. These people are identical to serial killers 30 years ago in movies. Like, it used to be something crazy fictional. You see the way they talk now. I just want to talk to the kids. Cis people, if you don't accept me, then your pronouns are going to be was, were, instead of they, them. These people are batshit insane. Transgenderism used to be something where it was so crazy 30 years ago. We compared them to serial killers who wanted to skin women alive. It's funny too that character in Silence of the Lambs, the whole reason that he had to kill girls to get skinned was because he was rejected from all the transsexual surgeries. You don't even hear about that now. Nobody's getting rejected for becoming transgender. They accept everybody. If you want to cut your dick off, go right in. The doctor will immediately sign all the forms. Your dick's gone. Back then, you needed to go through psychic evaluation, all this stuff. You need to be proven that you're actually a woman in a man's mind or whatever. So I recommend seeing this movie and just seeing the giant, you couldn't make this movie anymore because it makes transgender people look insane. And now we need to accept it. Shout out to Uganda, by the way, for banning Barbie, because Barbie is Lebanon and Kuwait. Ban Barbie because it promotes homosexuality. That's what the fuck I'm talking about, man. Despite Barbie being a box office dynamo across the globe, one country has banned the film entirely and another is considering it because the film promotes homosexuality, which it does. On Wednesday, Lebanon moved to ban the movie that has already raked in $1 billion, and Kuwait was not far behind. Lebanon has been thought of as, shout out to Arabs, your fellow Arabs, Lebanese. Lebanon has been thought of as a safe haven for LGBTQ people in mostly conservative Middle East. In 2017, they became the first Arab country to hold a gay pride week. What the fuck? Bombaka! But anti-LGBTQ rhetoric has been growing in the country. Lebanon Culture Minister Mohammed Mortata is reportedly backed by the armed Shiite group Hezbollah, whose head, blah, blah, blah. Said in a recent Islamic texts call for punishing offenders with death. Allah Akbar! Mortata said he found the movie to promote homosexuality and sexual transformation. Have you seen any Christian countries ban Barbie? But the Arabs come around and immediately say no. They found the movie to promote homosexuality and sexual transformation and contradicts values of faith and morality. The film is now under review with Lebanon General Security Censorship Committee, which is traditionally responsible for censorship decisions. There we go. Makes you think. Who's really standing firm the most against this woke garbage? Easily. Come on. It's us.
Puberty blockers to stave off this decision until they're 18 and mature enough to make this decision for themselves. So,
yes.
That's 100% not what I said.
I asked a yes or no question, so answer the question.
Did I mention the word surgery in those three?
Should they be able to get surgeries?
I defer to what the medical community says. And
Bob and weave. It's a simple. Can kids cut their dicks off? I defer to therapy. I didn't say that. Duck, 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 duck. Slipping like those scissors that snipped your dick off. Sorry.
Most of them will say no. I mean, some kids get top surgery. They get their breasts removed, but also
so they can get so little girls could cut off their titties to look like boys.
So I have plenty of cis women friends who get breast reduction surgery, and nobody ever gives a shit about that twice, right? I don't really trust you, and this kind of feels like a bullshit thing. So go fuck yourself.
So go fuck yourself, because I asked you a straight up question. You see how they feel comfortable being rude? They feel comfortable being insulting. And what's funny is that he knows that I can't punch him in the face right now because it's going to be a hate crime because he identifies as a woman. It's just terrible. Like, he feels comfortable doing this because he has a dress on. But men shouldn't feel comfortable saying, go fuck yourself for asking. Like, was I even being rude here? I know it's jinn possession. I know the demon has actually possessed people. Like, that's what transgenderism is. People thinking that they're in different bodies. They are possessed by demons. Like, anything that isn't heterosexual sex, I think people are possessed. I think gay, nobody's born gay. I think that they've been corrupted and their minds are in the wrong places. And to think that you need to have like a poopy dick it just makes no sense biologically. Anybody who's not having heterosexual sex, it's to some level possessed.
The shit about that twice, right? I don't really trust you, and this kind of feels like a bullshit thing, so go fuck yourself.
This feels like a bullshit thing. Go fuck yourself. Can you explain flat Earth? Not right now. But that's how they do it. I like that outro too. I didn't know that was in there. Shout out to my editor, Sakeb. Bro was low-key tall as shit. That's the tallest girl I've ever seen. Bro was like, Dahmer was gay too? Yeah, well, of course. Serial killers always like sexual deviants. They always start off as sexual deviants. Even the Unabomber, I made that video about him. He thought he was a tranny. He stepped into he was psyoped so much by MK Ultra and the CIA that he stepped into a transgender building thinking that was going to solve his problems. Then he left feeling disgusted with himself. But he almost, like, that's what happened. He got psyoped so much that he thought he was a tranny. That's just what happens to people who have been possessed and corrupted and their brains are not in the right place. They think that homosexuality and anything on the LGBT flag is going to be their problem. And we need to talk about that more. Like, sexual deviancy is possession.